everyone, I'm Rebecca and welcome back to my channel. Normally I'd say welcome to my sewing room, but you know what? We're about to leave because I am going to be going and getting on a plane and I'm taking you with me to England. So let's go ahead and go to the airport. I have arrived in London. The kind of bad thing about not being a window seat is you don't get much view on the plane, so I maybe put in a little bit from my phone reaching over the person next to the window, but I'm at my hotel now and can you see? Oh, it's not really coming out on the camera, but we do actually have a little, there we go, little peekaboo view of the top of St. Paul's Cathedral. We're right across the street from St. Paul's. So I am about to go out and find some dinner, something like that. A little worried about how gray the skies are right now. I didn't bring an umbrella. Maybe I'll bring a sweater with me at least for dinner. But it was really warm getting from the airport to here. And yeah, now I'm a little worried about those gray clouds, but let's go find some dinner. Made it out to the Millennium Bridge with the Tower Bridge way back there. St. Paul's there. Lovely views all around. But it is definitely drizzling. Oh my gosh, this smells so good. I've come down here to Borough Market, which seems very like a Pike Place Market in Seattle. All sorts of food and wonderful goods everywhere. So just a few minutes walk over from the Borough Market, I found this vintage and flea market called Vinegar Yard. Hopefully you can see the sign, so I'm gonna go check that out. Some really lovely jewelry pieces and other handmade goods type stuff at the flea market. Nothing really too vintage that I saw. So I think I'm going to go drop some heavy books off at the hotel, and I will tell you more about the books when I get there. So I was very remiss in not taking you with me first thing this morning, and to be honest, I don't know why I didn't think to take you. My mind just wasn't there. But the very first thing that I did this morning was I actually made a little appointment, I guess you could say, with the School of Historical Dress, which is about like 25 minutes travel time from my hotel to like the other side of the river in London. And that was because I have been wanting some of the Patterns of Fashion books that they have like redone, because I don't know if you're familiar with this, but I mean, we all know Patterns of Fashion, right? Those really long, awkwardly shaped books that Janet Arnold wrote a few decades ago and that are like such a wonderful wealth of knowledge. Well, the School of Historical Dress has written a couple of their own, and they've also gone back through the Janet Arnold ones and like made them better. So they have color pictures now, they have more items in them than they had before. But the shipping from here to the US is like so expensive. Like these are already fairly expensive books. They're 40 pounds per book, but then when you add the shipping in, it just becomes like impossible. So it dawned on me just a few days ago that maybe I could like set up a time to go get the books from them in person. So that is what I did this morning. I didn't get to see like any of the rest of the school or anything like that, but I met with Jenny and she sold me some of the books. So So they're still in their plastic wrap. I'm not gonna undo them till I get home just so that I can keep them nice. But I got number 1. We're super reflective because I'm sitting at the window here. But number 1 right here, which is 1720 through 1860. And then I got number 2 here, which is 1860 through 1940. Now I already have both of those. I have the old versions, but I don't have the new versions. So I've been really wanting the new ones. And then this is a brand new one that they just like completely wrote themselves, which is 1695 to 1795. So I was really excited to get this one too. They're working on a 3 and 4 right now, which are, I think she said like one of them is Elizabethan and one of them is like underclothes. So I kind of figure I probably don't need those when those come out. And then I did not get number 5, which is basically like all stays and foundation garments from, I think, either entirely 18th century or maybe it's the end of the 17th century into the 18th century. So I did not get those, and I didn't get to see like any of the rest of the School of Historical Dress, but I went over there and that's why I was kind of near already to like Borough Market and to that vinegar, whatever it was called, flea market. And yeah, I've never been on the other side of the river before, other than I think, is the Tower of London there? If the Tower of London is on that side of the river, and I've walked along that side of the river, I should say. I guess, okay, that's not true. I've been to the Globe Theatre. I haven't gotten to see a show there, but last time I was in London, I did go to the Globe Theatre. But I've like been literally just along the river. I haven't gone further south, so this was a little further south. So I got to see some things that I never seen before, which is really cool. So anyway, my mom's plane has now landed, and she should be here probably in about an hour is my guess, maybe even a little bit less. So I am going to go meet up with her, and then we'll come back here to the hotel, you know, drop stuff off, etc. But yeah, so I'm excited to go see more of London and to take you along with us. So I have picked up a new companion. It's my mom. Have you been on my channel before? I don't even remember. I think it's been a long time. Yeah, I don't get to see her very much because she lives in California. But we are here at the V&A. That's what's behind us. And we are about to go inside, and maybe I'll have some costume stuff to show you. Of course, the reflection is awful. looks real Tudor. Yes. We are here on a brand new day where we accidentally dressed alike. And we are here at Kenwood House. You might be familiar with Kenwood House because of Dido Bell. This is where Dido Bell grew up. So we are going to go inside and I'll show you some of the cool things that we see inside. Kenwood House is a free museum located in the outskirts of London on Hampstead Heath. It was first built in the early 17th century and remodeled in the mid-18th century under the ownership of Lord Mansfield. You may have heard of Lord Mansfield because of the movie Belle. Dido Elizabeth Bell was Lord Mansfield's great niece and lived with Lord and Lady Mansfield at Kenwood House as part of the family. She was the illegitimate daughter of a formerly enslaved black woman named Maria Bell and Mansfield's nephew Sir John Lindsay. I highly recommend watching Belle, the movie about her, which, though not actually filmed at Kenwood, is a fascinating film with really good costuming. I think this is basically my ideal decor, 18th century Barbie dream house. Kenwood House contains an amazing collection of paintings, including works by Rembrandt and Vermeer. Some of my favorites in the collection are actually by the painter William Larkin, who, in the early 1600s, painted such exquisite costume details in his portraits. Nearly a quarter of all of his paintings reside at Kenwood House. There's also a room at Kenwood filled with miniature portraits and wearable accessories, including an entire wall of 18th century shoe buckles. It takes about an hour to reach Kenwood House by bus from central London, and I highly recommend it, as besides the house and its amazing collection, the parkland at Hampstead Heath is also a great escape from the bustle of the city. And despite the travel time, you can still actually see central London from the grounds of Kenwood House, including St. Paul's Cathedral, which was part of its view in the 18th century as well. Right after Kenwood House, we scooted back to central London to spend about 30 minutes, in other words, not nearly enough time, at the Wallace Collection, another free museum in the Mayfair neighborhood. The Wallace Collection is home to a few of my favorite paintings, including The Swing by Fragonard. I have just closed out the Wallace collection. Those last few clips that you saw were from there, which is behind me, which is a wonderful free museum in London. We only had about 30 minutes in there, so it was very, very quick because we got back late from Kenwood House. So far a wonderful day. We have just arrived at the Grand Brighton Hotel in Brighton, and it is beautiful, and I feel like I'm living out some Edwardian dreams here. I will show you around the hotel a little later. We are here at the Brighton Pavilion. I'll show you around. As it turns out, filming is not allowed inside the pavilion, so we will have to make do with these still photos I took. The Brighton Pavilion was the home of George IV, and the pavilion that we see today was designed by John Nash between 1815 to 1822 in an Indo-Islamic style. The Chinese and Indian-inspired interiors were designed by Frederick Crace, which was unusual at the time since the architect generally would have designed the interiors too. It was a favorite home of George IV, and William IV also enjoyed his visits there, but Queen Victoria disliked the lack of privacy at the pavilion and sold it to the city of Brighton in 1850. And other than a stint as a hospital during World War I, it has been a tourist destination and available as an events venue ever since. We walked back along the waterfront from the Brighton Pavilion to our hotel. We hadn't even realized when we made our reservation that our hotel was the infamous site of the IRA's bombing and attempted murder of Margaret Thatcher. It was very interesting finding out that history. Once we got back to the hotel, we treated ourselves to a lovely afternoon tea in their sunroom. We are here at tea at the Grand Brighton. Look how beautiful this is. View out the window.
It's flying.
Afterwards, we took our time to explore the hotel. Smile. Wave. Oh my gosh. And as the sun was setting, I walked out across the street onto the rocky beach. And that was all of our time in Brighton as we headed out on our road trip the next morning. Editing Rebecca here. Between the fact that this video was feeling a little bit long for a travel vlog and also the fact that it has been taking me so long to edit this entire thing, I've decided to break this into two videos. So you have this video that you've just watched today, and then next week you are going to get the road trip portion of the trip. So when we got in a car, and I mostly drove all over England on the wrong side of the road and stopped in Devon and Cornwall and Wales and the Cotswolds, just like all over. So yeah, that will be next week, so make sure you check back for that. But hopefully you have enjoyed this video so far. If you liked this video, please go ahead and click the thumbs up icon. And if you'd like to see more videos, not really like this other than next week, but in general, please go ahead and click subscribe and the little bell icon to be notified every time I post a new video. I do post videos here on YouTube at least once a week, usually with sewing vlogs out on Tuesdays and then sometimes with additional costuming content out on Saturdays, but I post every day over on my Instagram, so please go follow me on Instagram. That's at Lady Rebecca Fashions. And if you'd like to help support all of the work that I do on this channel, I do have a link to my Patreon and my Ko-fi down in the description below, or you can send me a super thanks right here on YouTube. I'd also like to give a special shout out to my Edwardian level patrons, Sharon, Mirage, Laura, Jean, and Janelle. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Happy sewing!